Whoop, hold up. So first up, I have to apologize because one of my neighbors has been drilling the whole fucking day. Kind of annoying, but hey, if he wants to build something, I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but whatever. So I don't think you can actually see it, but at the moment I am building my master grade Gundam, and I'm pretty far. I'm pretty far. I'm doing the legs right now. I have to panel line. It's not detailing. It's called panel lining. I have to panel line this one first, and I have done. It looks so good. It looks really cool. To be really honest, I think one of you mentioned in my latest video about Gunpla that he was only sort of making master grades, or was it real? I think he's no. He said master grades because the models are bigger, they look better, and they're easier to work with. And it's quite weird because it's called master grade, but it's easier than the smaller Gunpla, like real grade or even high grade, because the parts are bigger. But damn it, it looks really cool. So actually, I'm working that at the very moment I'm going to finish it. And that is because I have spent the last 12 days, the last couple of days until the release in Thursday, up until basically last night, I spent 12 hours with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I like the books art, by the way. And this is my sort of my early impression. I am now at chapter 3. I am at Yunnan. And it's going to be sort of spoiler free, but then again, Final Fantasy VII is very old. So, Yunnan is, a city that's been there for many years. But I am now literally at the point where you go out of the Mithril mine and into Yunnan, and I have to say one little thing. The graphics are incredible, and not just the fidelity of the graphics, because if you compare this with, for example, Horizon Forbidden West or God of War, you're going to look and say, hey, this actually doesn't look that good. But the scope of the city of Junon is mind blowing to me. And just knowing the fact that in real time, you can explore it and you can sort of walk around this semi-open world and you can see all the angles of this giant city, because in the original game they really, with the CGI, with the CG movies, they try to showcase how massive Midgar is, how big Junon is. But now, with the technology that we have now, you can finally see how huge Midgar is. You can finally see how big Junon is and how big that fucking gun is. And it looks so good. There's so much detail, even in far fetched into the distance. You can see so much detail, and that is kind of what I want to see more into video games. Tone down the graphics, Sony. Tone down the graphics, AAA developers, and just make beautiful looking worlds. PS4 graphics to me are enough. They're enough. I want to see more incredible structures that you can actually visit in real time. And you also, of course, start out at Calm, and Calm is a small city that is sort of after Midgar, and it is full of details, full of life. It's fully explorable, and it just blows my mind how in Final Fantasy 16 you don't explore any of the cities. None. Zero. Just a small percentage of the city, and it's basically a linear go here, go there of the storyline plot. But no, in Final Fantasy VII, you could actually fully explore Calm and probably all the other cities that are in the universe of Final Fantasy VII. It really feels like Final Fantasy 16 was not the main game. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is like the main game for Square Enix, and Final Fantasy 16 is just a game that's, we're also making this one. That's how it feels. Now, in terms of character designs, I mean, Final Fantasy 7, it looks incredible. I love Claude, I love Barrett, I love Sephiroth. Tifa looks hot as fuck. Aerith is cute, like always, etc., etc. I think that the biggest change is it's a little bit open world, and I think that is what people were expecting because Midgar is very closed off, And in the original game, after you go out of Midgar, you go into the sort of the open world, right? You do the world map. That, to me, by the way, is still superior to all this open world crap, because it's not really open world, but they're pretty large, and they have used the Ubisoft style. The Ubisoft style of, hey, climb this tower and you explore a little bit of the city, of the environment, and then points will be unlocked, like, hey, go there, hey, go check this out, go attack this enemy, go find intel in this cave, go find the part of the live stream here, and then you get points, and then you can, upgrade your character, get better weapons. You can get summons like Titan, etc. And that is the Ubisoft way. That is, Horizon uses it, Assassin's Creed uses it, every Ubisoft game after Far Cry uses it, and I'm a little bit disappointed that the amazing minds at Square Enix, well, I'm saying amazing minds, I think most of the original Final Fantasy developers are already gone. I know that Tetsuya Nomura is still here, but I think most of the original genius minds are gone. And the thing is, the world isn't huge. It's big, but it's not huge. So there are only a small amount of towers, and then you basically explore the environment. But still, I was a little bit disappointed, like, oh, okay, they're using this also. It's getting very, very boring. But I think kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, where Ghost of Tsushima uses it too, but it's a smaller open world game. It's not Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where the game is massive, freaking gigantic, but you can't actually do anything with the game. And it's the same with sort of Final Fantasy. They have introduced a lot of mini games. There's a lot of side stuff, side content. It's really cool to travel with the Chocobo, and it's really cool to sort of see characters that you know in your mind as a kid. And I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII here and there, the original one, and now it's just expanded upon. However, they also changed stuff. For example, spoilers if you don't want to hear this. Spoilers if you don't want to hear this. Okay, can you hear it? Okay. After you go out of the swamp area where you fight, well, actually, that's the point. You don't fight the giant serpent. Sephiroth killed the giant serpent in the original game, and the party is amazed at how strong he is. Now you fight the serpent, something else happens, and Sephiroth kind of kills the serpent. It's what? Weird. And then you go into the Mithril Mines, and the Mithril Mines in the original game is like 10 minutes. This one took like an hour. And to me, the last part was like, nah, it's taking too long. They're just trying to forcefully expand the game, try to make it longer than it actually is. Is it still fun to play? Yes, it is. But it was a little bit too long. So you go out of the Mithril cave, mine actually. You go into Junon, and then, yes, my mind was blown. Junon, holy shit, it looks amazing. That's my remote. And I was looking to the left, and I'm seeing sort of a graveyard of shipping containers and ships. And I'm like, what? Where is the reactor with the Condor? And well, you actually walk a little bit, and then you see a Condor flying, and they actually talk about a destroyed reactor that's not active anymore in an island that they cannot reach. And I'm like, oh no, they completely changed that, because I was actually getting really excited to go to the reactor and try the mini game, because that was always really cool in the original Final Fantasy VII game. And I'm like, fuck no, they have changed it. I'm like, okay, to me, this game, I'm just, in my mind, I'm just saying Final Fantasy VII retold, remade. It's just it's in the world of Final Fantasy, the basic storyline of Final Fantasy, but retold and the world remade. So it's really cool if I see parts where I'm like, hey, that's the original Final Fantasy game, but I'm also not super skeptical, but I'm trying to be open-minded and say, okay, they're trying to retell the story. They're trying to build a um, more detailed world, right? Because let's be honest, in Final Fantasy VII, I know it's PlayStation 1. Have you seen any farms out there? How do people even eat? I mean, you only have the Chocobo farm, that's it. And now in the remake or the Rebirth version, Remake Part 2, they're finally showing like, hey, there are way more farms and this is what they're doing and stuff and stuff. And of course, again, PlayStation 1, of course they can't show it. But overall, I'm 12 hours into the game. It's fun. And I think the point that's the best, and I am not gonna say it's better than the original Final Fantasy battle system, but it's up there. It's the battle system. It is expanded upon against the remake. It's a lot of fun. It's fast paced. It's a lot of options. You can use materia magic. You can use abilities. You can even sort of press X and the time slows down, and you can kind of like turn based, and you can just use it kind of like with the original Final Fantasy VII remake. But they expanded upon it with doing team battles and I don't know the word. I forgot the word, but basically you can with R1 you can defend, and then you can do sort of another sort of defensible attack with some other characters. You can do team attacks, and of course you have summons. And so I was playing the game, and I'm like, okay, the battle system is really, really good. I'm really enjoying this battle system. And then it pops in my mind, Final Fantasy 16. Why is that battle system so boring? Why is it so easy? Why is it wannabe Devil May Cry? Why could they not use the battle system of Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, or Part 2, in Final Fantasy 16? And again, goes to the whole point, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was the main game for Square Enix. Final Fantasy 16 is just, hey, we're going to make Final Fantasy 16. Do whatever you want, because this is the game we cannot fuck up. And they did not. So I'm really enjoying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I love the storyline and the music. Maybe, just maybe, some of these tracks are better than the original. Just maybe, because the music is extremely good. And I think if you play this game for the first time, will you have the same feeling that I have, being nostalgic and say, oh my god, this and that? Probably not, but I don't think you will say, oh man, this music is just, yeah, it's normal, yeah, every art, no. You're probably still gonna love the storyline, the characters, and the music, but you will definitely enjoy it more if you have played the original. And you don't really have to be a kid like I was to play the original. You can be in your 20s when you played the original game, and then now you're in your 50s or 40s, whatever, and the 50s, and you'll play the remake. And I think you still are going to really appreciate the time they spent and the quality of the game. They really have done justice, in my opinion, towards Final Fantasy VII, the original game. Is it better than the original? No. No. I understand why, if you play it for the first time, you're thinking, oh man, this game's way better than the original. But you have to imagine, back then, when the game came out, the hype around this game was amazing. And when you actually play, this was my first RPG ever. And for many gamers, this was their first Japanese RPG ever. And just the scope of its storyline, I have never seen it ever in my life. Not even in movies. And the characters were so cool. The music was incredible. It was the whole world. I love the city of Midgar. It's still, even today, I think Midgar is one of the coolest looking cities out of everything we have designed as human beings in both fiction, non-fiction. Minas Tirith, I probably fucked up that name, in Lord of the Rings, comes close, but in the movies, the movie ones. But Midgar is such a cool designed city. The whole world and vibe of Final Fantasy VII is really cool. So it does boost the fun you will have playing the remake and the rebirth, because you can finally sort of see it in how they imagined it, right? You can finally see this massive scope of Junon, and maybe you will like the changes that they make, or maybe you're like, hey, where is the macro reactor? I want to do the mini game. This is a part of the game, and you basically washed it away and kind of changed it. I didn't like that a little bit, to be honest. But overall, I will say they have done justice to this game, to the original game, to my favorite game of all time, in my opinion, the best game of all time. They have done justice, but it doesn't have the magic it had back then. And I think that is very important when you're talking about stuff like this, like older games. If you haven't been there, it doesn't matter if you were a kid, even if you were, as I said, in your 20s, if you were there when the Super Nintendo came out, when the PlayStation came out, when the PS2 came out, or where the PS3 came out, when you were there, they can remake or port the game, but the magic has been lost, right? The magic of playing Final Fantasy VII the first time is lost. The magic playing Devil May Cry for the first time, Final Fantasy X, 12, Breath of Fire, Tekken 3, the magic has been lost. And even if you, and I'm sort of raging on a little bit more, a little bit too long, I know. I'm going to end the video in a couple of minutes. But if you play Tekken 8 and you play Tekken 3, is it different? Yes, of course it's different. But it's kind of the same, if you know what I mean. And, I have played, for example, Dead or Alive 1. And when you play Dead or Alive 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, it's been expanded upon, but it's still the same game. It's still the same sort of how the game plays, how the game looks, how it feels, besides Dead or Alive 6. That game fucking sucks. So even though Tekken 8 looks better and plays better and runs maybe very fluid, it's still kind of the same game, just expanded upon. So the magic, in my opinion, the magic of seeing these games for the first time has been lost. And I think that's a really big reason why gamers like me will say, no, Super Nintendo up until PS2, maybe PS3 was the golden age of gaming. After that, we just got remakes, remasters, ports, sequels upon sequels upon sequels upon sequels. Everything has been done before. Everything has been made before. So the magic has been lost. Rebirth and Remake is not as good as the original Final Fantasy, but they have done justice to the game. And it's still a lot of fun to explore this semi-new world. Leave it in the comments below. Are you playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? What do you think about the game? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And like always, you're gonna see me next time.